Everyone who crosses paths with Ms. Atkinson walks away better than we were yesterday.
How many 10s do you have?
10.
1, 10. Good job. So you guys can do that, right? You can rock and roll.
I received a great education in the North Carolina public school system with great influences along the way, the best of the best. I am now proud to be a part of this profession. Each part of my journey has led me to education, and today inspires me to be the best that I can be. I am proud to represent our region and will strive to advocate for the wellness of our students and staff. Social and emotional learning is so important with these times that we are in, not only for our students, but for our teachers and staff as well, and carried over with the firm belief that the students in my classroom should leave each day better than when they came in. As a teacher, I love my students. They are my why each day as I plan learning and life opportunities for their growth.
I think the thing about Ms. Bryan that has been so impressive to me is how she is dedicated to so many things at one time. And no matter how many balls she's juggling at once, she is always 100% dedicated to each one of them.
Teaching history is what I do, but the why I do it, the notion of launching students into our fragile democratic society who are prepared and equipped to engage in and strengthen that society, well, that's why I do it. I am really prioritizing having moments of genuine connection with my students, doing everything I can to keep them engaged in remote learning. Teaching positions me in a place where history can help meet a great need in the world. I feel like there is a great need for citizens who can critically engage and evaluate information, citizens who can take informed action, and citizens who can act with greater empathy because they have better understood the experiences of people who are different than they are.
Ms. Eugenia Floyd is committed to instructional improvement, instructional excellence, and equity for all students.
Talk to me more. Tell me more.
Another social issue would be education.
Yes, education. Absolutely.
We want to make sure that when we are building curriculum, when we're putting a poster up on the walls, that we are putting our students first, all of our students. As a teacher, I'm looking forward to the bright future that's ahead of us after COVID-19. COVID-19, although it has been devastating and challenging, has been an opportunity for us to grow. Social emotional learning has been a major contributor to the connections and the growth that my students have accomplished. Students have found a variety of ways to show me their understanding. We use the chat, we use Flipgrid, we use a variety of platforms in order for students to have the opportunity to communicate with me. Going forward, I hope that we will continue to reach out for tools to reach every child.
Describing Ms. Rivers' greatest strength is very easy for me. She has the ability to build strong relationships with all of her students in her classroom. Whether we're face-to-face or whether we're virtual, she knows how to connect.
I love the creativity of education. I love creativity in the arts, and I love to bring that into my classroom with my students. When we first went into this shift, I understand that it wasn't just a shift of location. It really turned our worlds upside down when it came to education and other areas. As a teacher, I advocate for mental health checks and emotional health checks and reaching out for help when you need that. The students need these opportunities to learn and express themselves in unique ways so that as they move on out of the public school system, that they feel confident and that they have a knowing about who they are, their abilities, and what their future can be.
It is extremely difficult to narrow Miss Kelly Coquette's list of strengths down to just one. But if I have to choose, I would say that it is her commitment to her students to show up every day, willing and able to do whatever it takes to engage, inspire, and support them.
It's not take my words, turn it into this, we're done. It's, here's some ideas, what do you think, let's make it our own. And that's what's so great about being a teacher, is when you can take the step back and give a little bit of the control away but still be the guiding hands. Your students are magnificent, and they just come up with such beautiful, beautiful ways to learn material and to express themselves. The pandemic, for me, has been a time of many challenges, a time of roller coasters, of emotions, and I think that's on behalf of myself and also my students and all my colleagues across education, really, not just my own district, but across our state and country. And for me, I've really focused this year on each individual child and their voice. Students have a beautiful voice, and they can excel, and they can do wonderful and amazing things. They just have to be given the room to do it.
Miss SR is an amazing teacher. One of her strengths is certainly that she's really a #1 advocate for students. She is continuously thinking what is best for kids, what is it that they need.
I work really hard to make sure that my students know that I value them, that I value their presence, that I respect them, and then from that point, everything else just sort of becomes more natural, and there's trust, and they know that they're allowed to take risks, and it's okay to be wrong as long as it's in the pursuit of trying to get to the end goal. Thinking about what has happened in the last year, I think about my own online classroom, and it would be unrecognizable. Everything that this child has known about going to school and playing those games is no longer like what that child knew. And so the first thing that you have to do with students is you have to recognize and help them understand that you know this is hard, and you know that this isn't going to be perfect, and to really open yourself up to how you can be helpful. The disengagement's natural, let's be real, right? We're adults and we want to turn our own cameras off and not be engaged in virtual meetings, but really dig into that and figure out what can you do with that, because at the end of the day, teaching a child is your responsibility.
Her greatest strength is when students enter her classroom, it's like they're stepping into another world.
When March last year told us that we were going to be doing remote learning, I thought this is a bad idea, it's not possible, and was I wrong. My mindset completely changed. Chrome Music Lab that allows students to compose and make their own music. Partnering with North Carolina Symphony, who has put out amazing, wonderful interviews and read-alouds by their musicians, and allowing our students to experience professional musicians outside the classroom. As Regional Teacher of the Year, it is my job to be an advocate for every single one of North Carolina's students. And the way that I will do that is by being a listener first and then a voice. The arts are essential. That was and is why I am in education now. It is a way to bring us together as a community, which is something that we need more than ever. And it lets our students celebrate their strengths together and as individuals.
Ms. Serrato cares very deeply for all of her students, and it shows every day in the relationships that she builds with them, including the relationships that she goes above and beyond to build with her families as well.
I think of teaching as almost like the role of a trainer, providing each of my students the courage to take risks, providing my students a safe, low-stress, high-trust environment where they'll get down in that learning pit with me, and they trust that I'm there, not throwing them a 500-pound weight, but throwing them what they can carry on their own. Our district has been learning remotely since the beginning of the school year. In fact, our students have not been learning in person since March of 2020.
I miss you!
What we've realized is, engagement strategies have had to shift. You can't rely on the same kind of interaction that you can rely on in the classroom. And as educators, we're not just helping students learn content, we're helping students learn how to be courageous, and we're helping students learn how to be people.
Mr. White shows up daily. He never gives up, and he doesn't accept that this child can't learn. He is going to figure it out.
Over time that I've been in education, my why has been the students that I teach. My classroom is not teacher-led, it's student-led. And In my experience, I've found that the more all the students are involved in all of their learning and they can bounce ideas off each other even as young as 5 years old, they can explain things sometimes even better than I can explain them. I've learned how to keep my students engaged even in the midst of having some of them over Zoom and some of them in person at the same time, and how to make a true community of learners even though we are not all physically able to be near each other. To have a community of learners and a positive classroom culture, you need to establish relationships with your children and your students insofar as they need to be able to know that you genuinely care about their well-being.
I believe every single student wants to be loved, nurtured, and encouraged.
I believe that teaching positions me in a place where history, one of my great joys, can help meet a great need in the world.
I believe that all students can learn. And in order for me to make sure that happens within my classroom, within my school, and within my district, it is my job to make sure that I seek out tools for their success.
I believe that education is about discovery, that every child should have the opportunity to find themselves and their path in the public school setting.
I believe students are creators and collaborators. They need me there to guide them and to provide a room to breathe and to experiment and try their own ideas.
I believe that the biggest impact on what students are capable of doing is what students believe that they can do.
I believe that music and the arts are essential and that every child deserves the highest quality arts education that we can provide.
I believe teachers are fundamentally advocates and guides to help students find an identity that will serve them for the rest of their lives.
I believe that all children have the ability to grow, and they have the ability to be part of a community of learners to where they can help each other out and they can learn from each other, not just me.